All right, first and foremost, give all praises and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Brakatham. Sincere greeting to the brothers and sisters scattered across the four corners doing this work, teaching with sincerity and charity. I'm Brother Phineas with Prince of Power Israelites. Just going to do a short discussion, short dialogue to help us understand more in depth the system of racism, white supremacy, in the inner workings of this system, because that's one of our pitfalls, is that we don't understand the system of racism, white supremacy. We don't really understand our place within that society. We don't understand that we're prisoners. We don't understand truly that we are slaves. We read the Jeremiah 5:3 and read the Baruch 3:8, and you know what I'm saying, we go over these scriptures, but it don't really hit us that we're actually slaves, that we're actually prisoners within this system, because some of us are doing good, some of us are, you know what I'm saying, feel like we're making a decent living, etc. And this and things like that is called racial showcasing. Under the system of racism, white supremacy, it's a thing called racial showcasing. And so, and that can happen on both ends. You can have racial showcasing where they're showcasing, you know what I'm saying, that some black people are making it, that some Latino people are making it. Look how successful they are. They have millions and hundreds of millions of dollars, etc. You can do this too, and so you have hopes, and then we all kind of, you know, say as sheeple, we all kind of lean towards that. So now we all dropping mixtapes, we all being, so we don't see doctors, we don't see successful doctors, so we're not leaning towards that way. We don't see successful lawyers, and we don't see the Johnny Cochrans and stuff like that no more. So we all leaning to rapping and stripping, because that is what's being racially showcased. That is how we've been seen. That is being showcased, showing us where we can win at, where it's feasible that we can actually win at. You also are going to be racially showcased white people actually in bad positions, right? White people homeless, white people, so, and that's called, you know what I'm saying, that's just casualties of the war. That's casualties of the war. That's what has to be done. Everybody can't win. And that's what I really want y'all to take from this, to know that everybody can't win within the system of racism, white supremacy. This is a system. This first thing, know that this is a system. And just like your car, your car is a system, right? Just like your car, if antifreeze runs out, or say the antifreeze been in there too long, it is not really keeping the car cool as it should, you know what I'm saying, may need to be flushed. If that happens, if you keep the coolant in there too long, eventually the coolant will evaporate. All right, eventually the coolant will evaporate and the car will run hot. And that coolant can be symbolically used for the patients of the lower class. You know what I'm saying? For the patients of the lower class to continue to be in that lower class, in a comfort of the lower class. That can be evaporated if it's there too long and there's not an increase within that comfort. That patience kind of runs thin, and then that patience eventually evaporates, and then you have the kind of situation that we have now, where anything can spark us off. You know what I'm saying? It's just that death with George Floyd happened at the opportune time. It happened at the right time to spark the car to actually have the check engine light comes on. So once something's wrong with the car, the check engine light comes on. And this is what rioting is. A lot of people question, does rioting actually help? Does the rioting help? Does burning down your own, first, it's not your community. They have to rebuild it, to keep the comfort there. If they don't rebuild it and they leave it like that, then the system is not going to run properly. So in order for the system to run properly, they can't continue to let the antifreeze leak out. They have to rebuild that stuff. They have to have you in a certain level of comfort, because so your patients can be there, so you can keep operating at max efficiency, so that the system of racism and white supremacy continue to work. Because you need the lower class, you need the middle class, you need the higher class, and then you need the higher class, and etc. All these have places. All these must run a certain way in order for the system to run. In order for the system of racism, white supremacy to run. And then, in other countries it may run different, systems may run different, but all of them are systems. So the rioting does help, because the rioting lets those upper ones, those higher level, those who are in charge, those CEOs, those who are running the system of racism and white supremacy, to, hey, you know what, the check engine light is on. Let's see how we can fix this, right? Let's see how we can fix this. And it don't take a lot to fix it. This ain't taking the lower. They still have to continue to be the lower class. You just got to give them a little more comfort and give them so they can continue to have their pace and continue to do their job. We have to understand that everybody can't win under the system of racism and white supremacy. Everybody can't win. You don't have that mentality. Everybody can't win. All right, in a system where everybody wins, there has to be a lot of there's going to be losers. Period. There's going to be losers. You can't have nobody, i.e., you can't have nobody driving across the country in a 16-wheeler, driving across the country making the same money somebody's making who's driving locally. Nobody's going to want to drive across the country. So there has to be more incentive to make that person drive across the country. Right? There has to be more incentive for somebody to, it has to be certain things, even psychologically, to make somebody clean the toilets up for a certain price. You see what I'm saying? To be, it has to be where there ain't that many opportunities, and we can get the lower class to do jobs like clean houses, clean toilets, etc. They have mapped all these things out. This is what I'm telling you. It is a very sophisticated system. It's not just a black white thing. It's way more sophisticated than that, man. It's way more sophisticated. It's how you get these people to be happy and content and dance around. That's why I gave the analogy about the prison. It's these prisons, they know that some of them phones and some of them darn tennis shoes and drugs, they know that stuff is being funneled in there. They are funneling some of that stuff in there, and they allowing the COs to make money funneling some of that stuff in there. But every now and then they have to lock up a CO for doing that. Every now and then they need a fall guy. See, and that's that racial showcase, and that's, those are the casualties of war. Sometimes some CEOs got to get locked up, but they know that's in there because the CEOs ain't making enough money to do that job. So it has to be a little incentive to them for that also. And then also there has to be an incentive for the prisoners. They need a certain amount of comfort, or there's a riot within the prison.
Underfunded, understaffed, and violent. Inmates here at the Parchman facility say it's not the guards who run the place, it's the gangs. Inmates using contraband cell phones allegedly shot these images, although CBS News hasn't confirmed that independently. This is Parchman Farm, home to Mississippi's death row, and lately a killing field for warring prison gangs. 3 inmates were murdered here in 3 days.
My little brother stabbed, beat up, just in a cell, and then they putting them in cells with the rivalry. How could you do that?
At least one lawsuit alleges barbaric prison conditions, rats, open sewage, abusive guards, corruption. Yet since 2014, Mississippi has slashed funding and staffing. Gangs like the Vice Lords and Black Gangster Disciples have thrived inside. Mississippi Governor Phil Bryant.
We are going to stop it. We have it under control as best we can.
But Mississippi's prison staffing is in crisis. Almost half the roughly 1,300 corrections positions in 3 major facilities remain unfilled. Salary is one issue. Even with a degree, guards start around $26,000, roughly the national poverty level for a family of 4. 65% of the state's corrections officers are women. Why are 65% of the guards women?
Because men don't want the jobs.
Jerry Mitchell is the dean of Mississippi's investigative reporters. He has looked into its prison problems for years. Are the inmates, the gangs, really in charge inside?
They are in charge of where you sleep, where you eat, how much you get to eat. You have towers that are empty, you know, that used to have guards that don't have guards now. And what do?
Or there's an uproar within the prison. And when there's an uproar, then you have the engine light comes on. Then the warden of the prison, he got to come down and he got to see how he can fix this. So say, oh, okay, well, let's give him 30 more minutes out there in the yard. And they get the 30 minutes. They got, we got an extra 30 minutes in the yard. And then, you know what I'm saying, now the system can go back to working properly. And this is all this is. This is what the rioting does. The rioting cuts on the light for the system, and then the system knows now, okay, well, whoever the warden is of the system of racism and white supremacy, he knows now, you know what I'm saying, we might need to do this, or we might, and you can ignore it, and you can't ignore it because eventually, you know, but it's just like the car, man. You can keep driving that car till it's overheating, and then try to pour water in there instead of antifreeze, and you may get down the block a little bit, but the fire will ignite again. You see what I'm saying? And because you haven't took the right solution to put this fire out, you see in city after city, you know what I'm saying, continue, you know what I'm saying, the rise starting here, and the rise starting here, and the rise starting here. I also want to talk about the demographic of the riots. I have been to a riot. It wasn't a riot, it wasn't a protest. It was a kind of protest, but this wasn't, I don't even know if it was that. This was the Ku Klux Klan is at Stone Mountain. Mount up. Let's go. They there. You gonna get to touch one. You get to touch one. But of course, 12 was there. Those race soldiers were secured, just like the dude house who the race soldier who killed George Floyd. His house is being pretty much, you know what I'm saying, secured from all angles, 24/7. These race soldiers, the Ku Klux Klan, were protected by the race soldiers, and so we couldn't even get to where the meeting was. We had no idea once we got in there. But I say all that to say this. I brought that up to say this. There are the demographic of that protest, man. I was there. When I was there, it was maybe about 5 or 6 African Americans, quote unquote. About 5 or 6. There were maybe 1,000 white people. Let me tell you this also. White people had tear gas. They had smoke bombs. They had gas masks. They had milk. They were seasoned protesters. Now you had a thing. I heard a thing called political. I overheard them talking this thing called political protesting, where these people will go out and make political careers. These will be like little stamps, you know, on their resume for their political career, because when they can go back and say, man, listen how much I fought for police brutality, and show you when they was 19, 20, 25, or they show you a record where they actually got locked up, and they tab the pictures. That's how Bernie Sanders has this picture with Martin Luther King sitting on the dorm, sitting on the grass, you know what I'm saying, because it's a thing called political protesting.
Look at your tag money, King. Separate from Esau. Separate from Esau.
We out here in peaceful protest.
Look at him, King. Look at your tax money, King. Look at your tax money.
The tax money paying for.
Look what your tax money paid for. Separate yourself. Separate yourself, and they don't get no check. They only get the check because of you. And your coward ass ain't even here.
So you'll have white people get the opportunity to do. That's who's mostly organizing these protests, drawing up the signs, having the bongo drums, and having the loudspeaker. You see what I'm saying? Because these are the ones that are going to rile this thing up. And so when the system, and that goes back to also the system being the system having to have that lower class. Everybody can't win within the system. Everybody can't win. So if you bring the lower class closer to the middle class, then the middle class is gonna have a problem, right? Because the middle class don't want to be considered the lower class. So if you start bringing more black people into white neighborhoods, white people are going to get upset. And then you're gonna have white people and black people upset, and that's gonna cause the light to go off again, and then you're gonna have a problem. You're gonna have riots, you're gonna have people messing around, killing, doing unjust killing. You're gonna have, and that's what we seeing with the police being called on black people within, you know what I'm saying, just I just had a dude get called, and he was leasing an office and using the gym inside of the building, and a white dude called the police on him.
Come on, bro. Watch out.
We pay rent here.
What'd you say we can't do?
I'm Tom Austin. I'm a tenant in the building. Are you?
We're all tenants in this building.
What office?
Don't worry about that. I'm explaining.
What office?
So we have an office here, and this guy came accusing us we can't be here.
What office are you in?
Don't worry about that. We don't have to tell you
I'm calling
anything.
911 now.
Go ahead.
Called up, and you've seen countless videos of blacks being the police being called on blacks, where they are in apartment buildings or being followed by people who are in these apartment buildings. Like, no, you're not supposed to be here. And so we seeing that when that middle class, when white people start moving in, black people start moving into white neighborhood, that's gonna cause a light to go on. And white people aren't gonna be satisfied with the country. So that you can't have that lower white class, you can't have them disgruntled about, you know what I'm saying, Negroes going over there, and even the lower class white people like the rednecks and etc. Even they still think they're better than the Negro. They still will say that they're better than them, even being at that lower state that they're in. They'll still consider themselves in a better position, even though they're on welfare. But see, their welfare don't consist of them doing they do absolutely nothing. You know what I'm saying? The Negro welfare, the Latino welfare, they still working. They still trying to pay bills, and you know what I'm saying, and they still struggling, but they if they're on welfare, they don't have, you know what I'm saying, they ain't doing absolutely nothing, sitting around drinking 6-packs and just being race soldiers, you know what I'm saying, just thinking about how they gonna murder, you know what I'm saying, some innocent non-white. But the system it's a system. You have to understand that it is a system. And if the system isn't running properly, then you have riots, and you want everybody to be happy in the system. But everybody can't be happy, everybody can't be on the same level. So the system makes everybody happy on their certain level. Now there can be certain it's not gonna be a perfect day. You know what I'm saying? Some people gonna be, you know what I'm saying, the higher tier may be unhappy, the lower tier may be unhappy, but it won't be enough as long as it ain't enough to cut the engine light on. I also want to leave out with this, the movie Joker. That's why the movie Joker was so powerful. It shows you the social climate that's needed to raise up a Messiah. Alright, to raise up a Messiah. If this continues on, if there's more killing, more unjust killings, then a Messiah may rise up from the flames of these riots, and we may be back to that point of the 60s, and then we can go back and look at those mistakes that were made then, and try to make, you know what I'm saying, adjustments.
You'd walk right over me. To all of those who have been ignored by the system. And as you see, Gotham is burning.
In a white room with black curtains near the station. Black roof country, no gold pavement, tired submarines. In your dark
Stop laughing, you freak. This isn't fun.
Yeah, the whole fucking city's on fire because of what you did. All units, fire reported north of Alley, code 4 for medical.
I know. Isn't it beautiful?